Beautiful. Hi, Noe.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Hello, everyone. I wanted to um, introduce you to an incredible human who had this inspiration to do something called Healing Conversations. And Noe Renteria is with us today, and I'm so grateful that you're here. And I think, I mean, this is the first YouTube that I've done. In a couple of weeks, I've been reflecting and in a place of noticing, really just noticing what's going on around me and in me, and really being where I am all the time, which is in the prayer. But one of the things that you had me on your talk, your Healing Conversations talk, and one of the things that I've noticed is that you gather people who have different perspectives around healing, and then you bring them to a conversation where they can share. And you do yours in groups where people have the opportunity to share and to interact with each other and to ask questions. And so I just wanted to open with, what really caused you to begin this process, and what caused you to begin Healing Conversations, what called you to begin.
Well, for me, it's been my own transformative healing journey that's always unfolding day by day, moment by moment. Um, but really, if I had to pinpoint it to that one date and time, it was as I woke up in the morning and I just felt it. And then I got in front of my computer and I typed it and created a group called Healing Conversations. Um, it was just like I would call it, for the lack of better words, an inspiration, a
Mm,
hunch, a push, like being compelled and pulled. And so I did it. And
mm,
yeah, I didn't, it was a leap of faith, right? To step into something in the unknown. It was a little scary. It was an urge that it was building. I didn't know what it was going to be, how it was going to be expressed, but I knew that morning what it was. And so here I am.
mm. That's marvelous. I love both of those words for a lot of different reasons. um, but one of the things that I know about love is that it is the greatest healing power that we have, is that power of love. And I notice your heart in the back of, this really beautiful glow created that beautiful image, and the heart. And you know Angela's Arian, one of my mentors, talked about the four-chambered heart and being full, open, clear, and strong-hearted. Um, and I think some of us have some challenges right now around our full, open, clear, and strong-heartedness. And I think we want to be strong-hearted and open-hearted, and um, clear and strong. But I think that, for a lot of folks right now, the four-chambered heart is kind of challenged around being full-hearted or open-hearted. And um, I also like to think about, grief and gratitude, you know, that there are things to be grieved and there's things to be grateful for. And in your mind, how do we proceed, kind of holding the heart, holding the grief, holding the gratitude? What are your thoughts?
Well, there was a moment in time that I learned through one of my mentors. Didn't really learn about holding space for all emotions. I was taught that emotions, just let them flow through. And I still believe in that, but I've combined that belief with also embracing and all emotions, not labeling them good or bad, low vibration, high vibration. We get caught up in the polarities of life, but I feel that life is the fullness, and also the emptiness, the highs and the lows. It's all one thing. And so one time I had this insight that being human is the realm of emotions. It really can be anything. Once I asked, without getting into an tangent, what are we doing here? I asked the great avatars, right? I created a little mini request mastermind this one night, and I was simply just told, become a great storyteller. And there was another insight, but that one I never remember. It's written down somewhere. But I'm a great storyteller. So I would say, yeah, the grief, the joy, the love. At the end of the
Mm,
day, I like to contextualize everything as unconditional love, all of it, all the highs and lows and everything in between. So so for me, it's this learning to hold space for all of it.
yeah. I think, there's this quote by David Riccio that says, we're not perfect, but we're perfectible, you know, and that we can pour every experience that we have into creating more love in the universe, and that's where we want to be. That's where we're growing. That's where we're going, is to that place of unconditional love. And so I'm wondering about your thoughts, you know, what can we do in our daily lives right now to have healing conversations not only with other people, because community, right? Community is, oh my gosh, this little squirrel just jumped up on my, hello, little friend. Hi. Just jumped up on the railing outside my window. Um, so one of the answers that we have is community, and of course our greater community, which is nature and all of the beings that are in nature. And um, there was also a little nuthatch hanging upside down this morning, which is about, of course, new perspectives. And they're one of the only birds that can hang upside down. So I think that I'm just curious, and I'm in a place of wonder about, you know if, like, connection and community is the most healing direction that we can focus on at this time. What are some of your ideas about how we can have healing conversations with ourselves and in community at this time?
Well, that's a loaded question, but I like to make it very simple. It was a conversation I was involved with. Very similar question, an insight that I shared for with three people. Simply what I did is I grabbed my phone, I put it in selfie mode, and then I put it right in front of the person I was talking to. I
Hmm.
said, narrow it down to that person that's right in front of you. Then I pointed at a mirror. You see that person? You want to look at it? That's it. That's always it. There's never nothing else out there. So I
Hmm.
feel like what you're asking is this is an internal conversation. This starts with us. Um, our experience of the external world is simply a manifestation, a reflection of the internal conversation that is happening right now, that is happening in the next moment, that is always only happening and nothing else. So how close are we close to ourselves? How much do we value and see worth, worthiness, value, self-love, compassion? How much space are we holding for ourselves? How much connection are we connected to ourselves is what we'll experience with all our interactions and the people and things and places.
It's so interesting. There's this poem by right, by Rami M. Shapiro. He's a rabbi, um, and Rami M. Shapiro, and it just says that there are moments when wellness escapes us. Moments when pain and suffering are not impossibilities, but all too agonizing realities. At such moments, we must open ourselves to healing. Much we can do for ourselves, and what we can do, we must do. Healing, no less than illness, is participatory. But even when we do all that we can do, there's often still much left to be done. Still much left to be done. And so we turn as well to our healers, seeking their skill to aid in our struggle for wellness. But even when they do all that they can do, there is often still much left to be done. And we turn to life and to the vast power of being that animates the universe, as the ocean animates the waves, seeking to let go of that which blocks our healing. May those whose lives are gripped in the pain of suffering open even now to the wonder of life. May they let go of the hurt and meet the true self beyond pain, the uncarved block that is our joyous unity and holiness. The last stanza is, may they discover through pain and torment the strength to live with grace and humor. May they discover through doubt and anguish the strength to live with dignity through suffering and fear, the strength to move toward healing. And that's Rabbi Rami M. Shapiro. I mispronounced. I'm like, oh my gosh, my Jewish ancestors are like, what? So are my Arabic. My and Druze, and they're like, oh my God, my little Mayan ancestor. But I should know how to pronounce his name. So I'm like, forgiveness. So I think, yeah, I just curious. Yeah, curious about your thoughts.
Um, I just like to think, and this is how I perceive life from this perspective. There's no way to be. As I say this just simply works for me, and it's what what's come through, what I've learned through mentors, what that there's no way to be. We are already in our healed state. The the delusion of the illusion that we're experiencing in form is that there's error, that there's something to fix. The reality is the sun is always shining. Oh, oh wait, there's clouds. And that's what this simply is. When the clouds are removed, then there's the noticing that we are perfect. We are unconditional love expressed. And that was one of my revelations, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. Created my first Instagram account coming out in my spiritual form. And there was a lot of apprehension with that because how do you even explain that to people? But we're always perfect. We're always healed. But apparently we're here to experience something that feels less than, but even in that, then, it's like that the dog chasing his tail. It's still a dog, and the tail is part of the dog. We are perfect. We are healed.
Yeah.
Um, embracing the journey, feeling unhealed,
Yeah.
contrast.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that even indicative in the word healing is that something needs to be healed, right? So there's, I just finished teaching a 7-day retreat, and um, it's a healing retreat. It's called the Labyrinth of Life, and in Hawaii. I'm so grateful that I had the privilege of being there and teaching with a co-teacher, Angelo Gatto. And in that, it's so powerful to watch that, exactly what you're saying, like the perfection of the grief, the perfection of, everything that we feel, and how important it is that, we're able to be in these healing conversations with our own bodies, which is the grief, which is the joy, which is the, like, that noticing, that awareness, that connection to ourselves. Interesting. So I'm wondering also, how can we let go of what blocks our healing? Like, what have you found? I find, letting go is often for me a conversation with Creator. Like, I've had to let go of a person that I really love recently because it wasn't a good um, experience for us to be. It's someone that I love a lot, but it's just they're not well. They're having some addiction issues. They're unable to get well right now, and so you know, there's a letting go that needs to happen, and so some of that happens through grief. But I'm just wondering for you about, what is it that helps you to let go of what blocks healing, or what do you suggest for help
Well,
with?
I know I sound like a broken record, but it just feels like um, when we feel that we need to do, must, should, have to, it's like an imperative that creates error in the present moment. And what I've learned is to lean into the present moment with awareness. It doesn't happen all the time, right? We're all
Yeah.
we get caught up in the sauce. And so But when there's awareness, it's like, wait, okay, I see that. There's a noticing. And that was a new thing that Spirit said, focusing versus noticing. A lot of
Mm.
times we focus on there has to be a change, and then that's all we ever see. And then we get caught in a cycle of changing, having to, and that always feels like there's something wrong. So what do I do is I'm starting to learn to just notice versus focus, because focus is just super heavy. So that's one of the message that I have with healing conversations is that life doesn't have to be heavy, stiff, rigid. When it's
Mm.
like that, it doesn't ever feel good. And even as I say that, there's no way to be. This is just simply what works for me. Is this concept of lightness. So I'm starting to instead of focus, just notice. Oh, wait, that doesn't serve me. Oh, wait. Um, as I
Oh,
do that, I feel like I end up focusing on the things that I want to let go. And sometimes what that does is creates a resistance. For example, ending relationships, that's very hard. It was very hard for me um, because there's so much emotions and so much resistance to change. And I
yeah.
feel like that's one of the biggest blocks for me that I would probably venture to say it's a big block for everyone. Change. Change is scary. So learning to perceive change is a beautiful thing. You have to close a door to open another door.
Mm.
Endings are beautiful beginnings. This is not a new revelation that I'm saying here. Breakdowns are breakthroughs. So for me, it's uh, not having to do it, noticing, and then wondering if that does happen, then what would the next moment look like if I let go of what no longer serves me? And it's an ongoing conversation. As I say, all is well and everything's perfect. There are things that I look at, just daily, and it's like, well, that would be nice to maybe let go. And so, it's like and I'm sure until the day I die, there will probably still be that conversation going on. But for me, it's something that I don't make heavy, right? I look at it, I'm like, wow, I wonder when this is gonna finish. And then there's awareness is put on it and there's intentions put on it, of course. So what would I say are practical things is not resisting the thing that we want to let go for one thing. That's the worst thing we could do by over focusing on it. Let's create some lightness. Let's create space to be compassionate with ourselves, right? Knowing that we're doing the best we can, accepting that wherever we are at in our journey is perfect. We're like paintings. You can't have a masterpiece without a contrast of color, shapes, and forms. And so it is with our life and the things that are we're letting go, and the things that we're embracing. It's ever changing. And I learned that the only constant in life is change. And so it is like with the cycles of nature, they're always changing. And we are nature. In fact, we are Pachamama. We're all of it, right? We're connected to all of it. There's no distinction as
Mm.
far as energy is concerned. So we mimic that, right? Leaves fall off a tree, and so do things from our expression. And then new green, new leaves are grown. And so those are the things that replace the things that are let go. I mean, we're just nature,
Mm.
in a sense.
I love that. We're just nature. That's like my new favorite thing. We're just nature. Um, that's really beautiful. My other question, Noe, is what are you embracing now? What is it that's giving you wisdom and guidance, even comfort right now? What are you embracing now?
Well, for me, it's my biggest thing, I'm a guy, so I've always been in relationships, so like I'm just so used to it. I've only been like in three big long-term relationships, really four if you count like when I was a kid, 8 months. But learning to be alone, to be single, and like that to me has been like it's been difficult because I'm like, well, I'm not even used to it, and so just accepting it. So that's been my new challenge. So yeah.
Just to embrace that. Yeah, that's powerful. Um, yeah, I had an experience. I remember I think I took 5 years off from relationships I think it was about 10 years ago. I was just like, I need to not do this for a while. And I mean, I dated a couple of people, but it wasn't, and then it was like it was like my I'd embraced myself enough, or I had um, accessed an internal family system that could really care for me, and I really wanted to be a good partner. Like I want to be able to take care of us, and I think that's what we're being called to do right now is to all human beings are being asked to look at how can we take care of all of us? How do we take care of us instead of just taking care of me? How can I take care of us? And I really found myself in community. Those years when I was single, I was in community and I was in fellowship and I was doing things with my family and my friends, and I just really deepened the intimacy in my friendships, and I mean, I love my friends as much as I love my partner. It's not different for me. I mean, my partner is my primary, but I love my friends. And so I think we need to somehow remember that it's okay to love each other, you know. So I wonder for you about, creating community and connection and love and your community. And um, there's lots of definitions of love. I
Right.
What's that?
Oh no, I know where. Yeah, I'm catching the essence. No, keep going.
Yeah, yeah. So, I have Bell Hooks work right here. This is all from All About Love, New Visions, and she says that love is. There's a couple things I wanted to read here, but I know um, I think we have a minute here, so I'll just read this part. But it just says that this is page 5. To truly love, we must learn to mix various ingredients: care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communications. Learning faulty definitions of love when we are young makes it difficult to be loving as we grow older. So, how do we stay loving? How do we, what comes to mind for you when I talk about love and when I talk about these taking care of us and
Well, for one thing, I've been reflecting, right? So I set intentions. I even saw a friend, therapist, just to I always like to get perspective. As you can tell, healing conversations, different perspectives coming together. I
yeah.
feel like we're the medicine for each other. This conversation so much. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. And so, every interaction we have is the same, just being grateful and thankful for the what comes through. For me, it's like feeling the energy. When I feel the energy, then new thoughts are created and inspiration for a new way to see things and reflect on this thing you're talking. And so what I've learned is to bring it all back to this thing. Like
mhm.
one of the okay, so I'm gonna mention this because I haven't practiced it yet, but it was a conversation I had on Tuesday
Amazing.
a little mastermind group, and she said she's involved in a self-love course. And one of the conversations she was having with her assistant was about why not start writing a romance letter to yourself every day about all the things that you love about yourself.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
And so I want to start doing that because sometimes I feel like there's this feeling like, well, there's something wrong with the present moment. How much are we really loving ourselves? And so I'm really reflecting on that because it does happen. And so, and even though I'm involved in a self-love course right now as well, where there's new awareness being brought up about like, there's this kid inside of all of us that's reacting and responding to life, and it's coming from a place of trauma. And so I've seen that. I see that easily like everywhere. We all do that. And so just learning to, I have this little meditation I do for my healing conversations, and it's you're taking a deep breath, you're hugging yourself, you're saying I love you. You're taking another deep breath and you're hugging yourself and you're still saying I accept you. You're hugging yourself again and taking a deep breath and then saying I'm doing the best I can. So
Oh,
again, holding space, right? For all the emotions to come up, there's nothing wrong with any way to be, any way to feel. And then just sitting with that, right? Like, where's this coming from? not making anything wrong, and just, applying more love. That's my thing. I just like to go back to unconditional love with everything. This is what is being expressed. And can we embrace ourselves without judgment, create lightness, right? And I feel for
Mm.
me that's been like the most transformational thing. Um, just feels so beautiful. And like what I feel is that we're so surrounded, we can't see it, but there's love all around us. What we are is love. And all we have to do is be in stillness and we'll feel it. And it'll talk to us. It'll guide us, right? We're never not guided and talked to and comforted. We are so loved. It's when we think we're just born and everything feels so spacious in a way that we get into this funk. And even that's okay. That's the contrast, right?
Mhm. Yeah. No, what a blessing to be with you. Thank you for being in this conversation with me. And yeah, thank you so much. And I think that's a great place if there's any closing thoughts that you might have for the people who are watching.
Well, one of the things I've been saying a lot, the spirit came through, is like saying, I've said it many times, let's stop being so hard on ourselves.
See,
Let's stop being so hard on ourselves. We're our biggest critic, and the suffering that we're experiencing, nobody can make us feel any particular way.
mm,
It's a thought that was conveyed to me years ago that I glorify suffering, and then it gave pause for reflection, and I was like, what? No, I don't. And then I started reflecting and I started seeing the character. The character doesn't know how to be the character without the story of suffering. And the
uh,
suffering became optional, right? I was like, whoa, wait a second. How much do I love myself if I'm like in this suffering, you know,
yeah,
storytelling? Can we infuse a little bit of love and self-compassion, not out there, but to ourselves, and it will flow out there in our experience.
yeah,
A little bit more love, a little more lightness.
I love it. Thank you, Noe. I'm really grateful to know you and thank you for your beautiful work. How can people enjoy your work and join your conversations? Is there a way that they can connect with you?
Sure. I have a website called expressandheal.com. Just simply express and then and heal, expressandheal.com. There's also Healing Conversations. That's a Facebook group. Healing Conversations community on Instagram.
Mm.
And they can always call me too. Uh, I just say my number 831-595-3648.
You're
Many ways to get a hold of me.
Oh, that's so great. Oh, well, Noe, what a treasure you are to me and to your communities. And thank you so much for being in the conversation and for sharing with us your ideas of healing. And I appreciate what you said about the little meditation. I remember the meditation from our healing conversation, and so hopefully everyone can hold that right now and really bring that into consciousness each day.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate you, Char. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Blessings to you and the work you're doing. The day
Mm.
I talked to you and I met you, like, in our healing conversations, you just come across just with this very beautiful, soothing, gentle, and nurturing energy. You're such a blessing. Thank you, thank you, thank you that you exist.
Thank you, Noe. You too.